So today on Project Shop, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the old Benz. Now, this thing's been sitting for a little while. It had a dead battery. I did go get a replacement battery for it from Wally World. And the reason why I have a Walmart battery in my Benz is I was out of town. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and my battery went bad. I literally got stuck in the parking lot of a Walmart. And so I just went inside and bought a battery, and it was about 3 years ago. So the battery took a shit, and it does come with a 4-year free replacement. So I literally just took this yesterday and got a new one for free. And this battery wasn't cheap, man. This was almost $200 when I bought it. 900 cranking amps. It's almost as big as my truck batteries. So I had to move my car yesterday, which is why I went and got the battery, and I had to put my truck battery in there, but the posts were on the wrong side, so I had to kind of rig it. But this is a perfect opportunity to show you guys something that was sent to me, which is this Top Don jump starter. Okay, so I've had jump starters in the past, but they were way bigger. This is the first time I've ever had one of these small units, and it's pretty incredible how you can start a car with something so small. It comes with this. Now we're going to see if we can't get the car started on just this, even though I got a good battery in here. It does have this boost function where it just sends all the power. So we'll see if we can't start it up. Now I have jump started this before, and you've seen this thing on the channel. I've used this for tons of things. Matter of fact, let's go before we jump start the car. I'll show you what I've used it more for than anything, was operating this winch. I need to wind it in, so this is a perfect opportunity. If you hold the button long enough, these LEDs come on, which is kind of handy if you know, you're trying to find your way around in the dark. So it has just and this is something I'm a little skeptical about. That's like, to me, the weakest point, but it has this function right here called boost, and when you push that, the green light comes on, and I guess it sends all the power right to it. Okay, so what we're going to do is just put this here. I forget which way in was. Nope, that's not in. Bam. So as you can see, that worked really well. We did lose 25%, but I don't know if this thing was fully charged. It's been sitting around for a while, and I did use it yesterday. So now I'm not sure if this thing will jump this car without a battery connected. Now this battery that's in here is a good battery. So we're just going to connect it there, connect it here. We'll take it off, so it's not even, see that? We're not even connected to the battery. And this ghetto rig was just because I didn't have the distance. Okay, so we're gonna put that on there. Now what's crazy is, you see the size of the cable back there and the little tiny cables here? I don't know how well that's gonna work. We got it on boost. It says correct. Let's see if it does anything to the car. We got dash lights. Now, this is a V8 supercharged engine, so. Woo! Fired it right up. And it's pretty much running probably on the alternator right now, but that just goes to show you, you don't even need a battery. So I'm pretty impressed with this thing. for what it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this cable back on here because I want to move the car over to where my truck is sitting, because we're going to put the exhaust. If you just heard it, it doesn't have an exhaust. Matter of fact, we'll start this thing back up, let it warm up, but I'm going to put it on the battery. I'm going to disconnect this and just use the clamp to hold the battery cable on, so we have a connection. We'll put the negative on. Okay, so since we couldn't reach, we needed like 3 inches, I got this massive cable just clamped on there. This is ghetto. That's a 1,000 cranking amp battery. Anyway, that's out of my diesel truck, so that's a pretty stout battery. This car has no exhaust from like here back. It's in the, I was doing some work on this in that last video, and I never put the exhaust back on, so we're going to try to put the exhaust back on today, and whatever panels we need, and then shit, this thing's ready to ride. Sounds like an absolute beast with no exhaust pipe. I think the cats and the resonators are still on there, but the mufflers, like the whole back half of the exhaust, is off. Okay, so first order business, we're gonna actually put the battery in this thing and slide it over a little bit so I have a little bit of room to use the jack. Now, this is a heavy ass car, and with the hydraulic suspension, I don't trust it for shit. So when I jack it up, I'm going to be using 2 jack stands. And if you seen in that video where I cut up that car with the hydraulic cutters, the guy had jacked up the car and put it on jack stands, but it sunk in the asphalt. These were the discs I was talking about. I got them at the scrap yard, and I literally, as soon as I seen them, I'm like, oh, they'd be perfect for putting my jack stands on. Why I like these ones: 1, they're aluminum, they're really light. 2, because they're aluminum, these things actually grip and almost dig into the aluminum a little bit. So it's not like steel where it's gonna slide around. It just gives better grip. I've had really good results with these. And I have bigger jack stands they work great with when I'm jacking up my big truck over there. You know, whenever you're picking up a car on asphalt, the jack is okay, because it's got big round wheels. Now it depends on how hot it is. If it's super hot out here, this thing will actually sink into the asphalt too, depending on how heavy of a vehicle you're picking up. You might even need sometimes to need to put a steel plate down that, but for sure, don't ever trust a jack stand with asphalt, because you don't know how thick the asphalt is, and asphalt is not solid, it's like soft, man. That shit'll dig down in there, your shit could collapse on you, you could kill yourself. Now I'm out here working by myself, so we're going to take all the precautions. We're going to chalk the front tires, because this thing is on a hill. We're going to use 2 jack stands, and I'm probably going to shove some spare tires from my trailer or something up under the side of the car, you know, just in case this thing comes down. I mean, these are Harbor Freight jacks, so I don't trust hydraulics, period, for my life. So we will be taking a lot of extra precautions. Damn, we got a cracked light. Car does have some issues. It is a 20-year-old car, you know, but for 20 years, compared to other cars of the same year, a little dusty, but the interior, a little bit of dirt on the carpet. And I think these are the original AMG carpets. They do need to be replaced, but overall, other than it's sitting for a couple months out here, the car is clean. The interior is not trashed. I keep tint, super dark tint on the windows so the sun doesn't tear everything up. I got the 3 back windows are double limo. These are limo with 20%. And then the whole front windshield is tinted like 50% with a limo strip. So it keeps the sun out. And on a hot day, you know, if it's 90, 100 degrees out here and I turn the AC on and I'm inside, this does a really good job at reflecting the sun out. And it's like icebergs in there. At nighttime, that's a whole nother story. It's hard as fuck to see, I ain't gonna lie. But if it ain't raining, normally when I drive this car, I put all the windows down, the top, back, and I'm just chilling, man. I love this thing. And I'll tell you another thing, you know, because I do have a lead foot and I am a very spirited driver, I've always had the thought that, you know, if you want to be a spirited driver, buy a car that was designed out of the factory to handle what you want out of it. Okay, this car came with upgraded suspension, upgraded brakes, because it's easy to go fast, but you know, can you is the car made to handle that speed? Is the car going to stop at those speeds? This car has front brakes that are as big or bigger than that F350 dually over there. You know, and just a brake job, pads and rotors on this car cost me over $700. This thing has 8 piston front calibers. You know, this thing stops like a mofo, man. No joke. So, literally this car was designed for the Autobahn. You know, 150 mile an hour, I've set cruise control, okay? And it just ate the road up like it was nothing. Plenty more power to go. I mean, even at, like, I've seen videos of these cars doing 200 mile an hour on the Autobahn, and the guy's just chilling. Doesn't he? It's so uneventful. You're just like riding on a cloud. And, you know, it's kind of crazy that, you know, you could be doing those speeds and, like, literally when you're driving a car like this, you need to look at the speedometer, because no shit, you could be doing 120 and think you're doing like 60 or 70. So I think we were going to get some rain here. I've seen some sprinkles, but we're going to try to just keep pushing forward and get this battery swapped out. Now, it's relatively simple. The batteries in these cars are in the trunk, which kind of sucks when, one, my key don't work for the trunk, which is kind of crazy because I am reliant on the buttons to open this. It has an automatic trunk, and I'm worried that if that goes bad, I'm not going to be able to get in the trunk. It's going to be a nightmare. So I am going to have to address the key issue. I got like 3 or 4 different keys for this car. I mean, they're all the same, but none of them work for the trunk. We're going to take this one out, and this little pump, this pump, I believe, is for the hydraulics to open and close the trunk automatically. It sits down in this goes down in there, the pump goes in, this covers it, and then the battery is bolted down by this. We might have gotten some moisture in the car at some point. I'm not sure where that rust came from. Like I said, this is a 20-year-old car. This isn't no spring chicken. Oh shit, and that is a heavy ass battery. Oh, okay. If you're gonna have a 20-year-old Mercedes, I suggest you know how to work on it yourself, because I would not want to have to go to the dealer. I've only had to take this car to the dealer one time, and that's because this W220 model had an issue right out the gate from the factory, where if a drain up on the front under the hood clogged, it would literally flood the car. And okay, and there's a bunch of computers under the back seat, and they will get ruined. And unfortunately for me, that actually happened to me maybe a year after I bought the car. I had no idea that that was a problem. That's why you should always research potential issues with whatever car. That way you know what you're getting into, whatever car you're going to buy. And the great thing about the internet is someone's made a video already on every possible situation pretty much that you could come into with just about every vehicle. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't do my research until I started having issues with red lights flashing on the dash, and one day the car just shut off on me, and I had it towed back to my shop. And ironically, when they backed it in, it was like opposite of what this is, and it was on an angle facing down, so all the water that got into the car basically moved to the back. I pulled the back seat to look at the computers under there, and they were literally submerged in water. So I've had the whole interior out of this car. Now luckily it only got to the bottom computer. I think there's like 2 or 3 in there. Okay. And I need an 8mm or something. And so I wind up having to buy a $400 computer. But the problem with this car and most modern cars is you can't just take a computer from one car or buy a new computer and put it in yourself. You have to have it coded to the car. So I had to have it towed to Mercedes, and they actually found, even though I went through and cleaned the car, I gotta find some metric. Even though I pretty much pulled the whole interior, dried everything, dried all the connections, did everything I could possibly, I still had to have them code the car. I think this is what we need. We'll find out. And they found one connection that needed to replace that was corroded. And then they, the ignition, something with the ignition got messed up from me trying to start it, or what, you know, whatever the water. Basically, it cost me like $1,600, even though I paid for the computer and whatnot. And who knows, they could have got me. You know how the dealership runs. But that was the most expensive thing. Damn. Okay. Solid there. Let's put on our negative. So in 7 years of ownership, only having to go to the dealership one time, for a Mercedes, I think that's pretty good. And you know what, let me put this, before I put that negative on, I gotta get this actually back down in there. This little hydraulic pump. Oh, and there's a vent that goes on this thing as well. A little hydraulic pump. Look at them cute little hydraulic lines. God knows how much it would cost to replace that. But that basically just gets covered up with this. And you don't ever even hear that thing. So much sound deadening in this car. That's probably where most of the weight comes from. When I had the interior out, the freaking carpet in this thing is like 4 inches thick. It's massive. I'm sure a lot of the stuff that's on this car, which was state-of-the-art in its day, is common to most vehicles now. Like this was one of the first cars to have where you just walk up and open the door with the key in your pocket. It's probably still one of the only cars that I don't know how many cars actually have soft closed doors, but this car had that feature. I think this goes somewhere. I think it goes over here on the side. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, not sure, but there's a hole there, and I'm not sure where the other end of this went. I'm supposed to vent off fumes somewhere. I'm just gonna stick it down in here. Okay, that can go there. Tighten that up. You know, automatic stuff, soft closed doors. This car came with massaging seats, air conditioned, heated seats. I think that was like a, you know, Mercedes first or something. The hydraulic suspension, I think that had been around for a while, but you know, this car had a lot of stuff on it that even today some newer cars don't even have. You know, my favorite is the 200-mile-an-hour speedometer. So I think we're good with that. I can probably take this. See, I have this here because when that battery died, I didn't want the trunk closing, because there's very few ways of you to jump start this or put power to the car if this trunk closes and you don't have a key like me. So what I did is, last time I changed the alternator, I ran another power line up to where I could actually either charge the battery or get the car to jump off. Okay, now that we got that, we'll get our tools out of here. We'll let this come down. We're gonna move the car over and get it up and get the exhaust out here, see if we can't get it on, and then we're going to take this bad boy for a test drive. My bigger jack stands, because I had to bring the car way up. I'm just too fat to get underneath this car. So I'm gonna go get the other big stand. I did slip the rear exhaust into that hanger, because once I bolted in, there's no way I'd be able to get it in there. So from this point on, it should be pretty easy. I was up under here fighting the parking brake for like 20 minutes trying to get that dang thing hooked up. I finally got it. So I'm gonna go get my other big stand. This thing should just bolt right back up. Now, if you notice in that last video where I replaced the hydraulic line, and I had one made, I probably should have had it made a little bit shorter. It's kind of long, this one here. Like, there was this metal thing that went around, bolted here. You know, the problem is up under there's a heat shield, and it's kind of interfering with it. But I think I can just take some zip ties and zip tie it up out of the way, and then we won't have any issues with that. What I am going to do, I'm not going to put the cover on the fuel pump and the fuel filter, because I'm actually going to change the fuel filter. I don't have one now, but I'll leave that off. That's not really going to bother anything. I just want to get the exhaust on and the car back down, riding on its own power, because I haven't even taken it for a test drive on the highway since I put this hose on. But what I want to do is, I want to locate all the chafe points where the hose could possibly chafe, where it's touching the frame there, where the original hose was clamped into a thing, which I'm missing the rubber. I don't know if it deteriorated when I took it off or it's in another bin. I got some other parts I gotta go find. Okay, there you have it. We got the exhaust back up now. Those exhaust tips are dirty as hell. I probably should have cleaned them before I put them up, thinking about it. But I just wanted to get them up there. I can clean them after the fact. I just wanted to show you guys the exhaust. I thought it was pretty cool. It went on pretty straightforward. I kind of bolted it up there. Had to start on the back to get it in the hooks. And then I came back here, tightened up the clamps. Or just put the clamps on. I actually left them loose so that I could get the hangers all up in place. But I wanted to show you this. This is the factory AMG exhaust, and these things actually say AMG. It's probably upside down. There you go. They actually say AMG right on them. And people that have like S500s like to buy these exhausts because I think that, I don't know if the diameter is bigger, but they're a little more throaty. And check this out. I don't know if the 500s come with this. These things have built-in crossover tubes. There's one there, and then it has another one here, kind of like an H pipe, which I think is pretty cool. Now this car has primary cats, secondary cats, resonators, and then mufflers. Or these are mufflers and those are resonators. I'm not sure which is which, but I can eliminate all that crap. Maybe I'll keep the mufflers, but the secondary cats can go. We can probably put a proper Y pipe in here. I'd love to do some long tube headers and get some high flow cat. I have to have primary cats, otherwise there'll be a check engine light. But I'd love to put some headers on here, and they do sell high flow cats for this vehicle. And then just do away with all this shit back here and straight pipe it, or do the high flow cats and then put some cutouts. Maybe get rid of the secondary cats, keep the resonator and the muffler, because I like the fact that even though this car is a little throaty, it's quiet. You know, the people that buy these S classes, you know, they don't want a loud car. I mean, this car is kind of loud. It does rumble and sounds really good, but when you're in the car, you don't hear it. Like, you don't hear nothing. You just put your foot down and this thing freaking moves, which is really nice. Now, I'd like to keep that quietness because it's kind of stealthy. I like the stealth aspect of it. And cutouts would work really nice. We could put a set up in here somewhere and just have like a switch or a button we can hit, open them up, and just dump the exhaust right there. Which would sound probably like it did when I had this off. So I got these 4 bolts I still have to tighten up.
and then I'm gonna put the wheels on and lower this thing down, and we're gonna be done.
Okay, she's back down on her own feet now. I do have these things, these little plugs that go here, but they were supposed to have these little clips, and man, this is 20-year-old plastic, so they broke off. And I do have the one for the side. I don't know what happened to the one for the side, but Steve confiscated one from the junkyard when he was there, off that one that's over there that we want to go take a look at. I'm gonna take that out for now. We'll close. I could barely hear it. Quiet now. Sounding good. Oh man, these rims are filthy. We got a little bit of work to do to her yet to bring her back around. I need to get it on a computer because the hydraulics are all the way up. This car is supposed to sit a lot lower than this, and there's a button I can hit on the dash that'll raise it and lower it in case you got to go over bumps or you want a smoother ride, I guess. But when it's normal, it sits a lot lower than this, which I don't think it's going to affect anything. Well, she seems to be running good. Now, if you want to do a burnout, you got to take the traction control off, man. She shut right down. That's funny how it just takes the power away from the car like that. That's the problem with electronic shit. You know, there's too much going on. So I'm gonna get cleaned up, wrap things up here, then we're gonna take this thing for a test ride and see how she handles out on the highway. Okay, so we're out here. I don't know why that thing keeps popping up like that on the dash, saying my door's open. We're taking it for a test drive. Now, driving that F350 for the past 3 months and then hopping in this thing is crazy, man. I feel like I'm just riding on a cloud. And Man, this thing just moves. I'm barely tickling the throttle, and she wants to go. She's basically telling me, get me out on the highway so I can stretch my legs. I got to stop and get some gas. I got very little fuel in this thing. Oh, check it out, man. A motorcycle with a sidecar. Haha, that's cool. Okay, we took her over to the car wash. She's looking a little better. She definitely needs the headlights buffed out and another real good cleaning and a deep rim cleaning. I have some really nice stuff at the shop I'll get into, and those missing things are driving me crazy. I gotta wait till the car dries to glue them on and where the car can sit for a while, but she's looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry her off real quick. Okay, I got a soft check engine light on. Now, if a red light comes on, then you got problems. Now, as for my tint, yeah, she's dark. And you definitely got to be cautious driving at night. Now we're gonna check the oil real quick. It's been a while, but I think it's engine oil measuring now. Engine oil is okay. So, with that, we're gonna go take a ride on the highway. All right, we're gonna take her down to Mexico, let her eat some asphalt tacos. Oh, she just wants to go, man. We just tickling the throttle. Look, we doing 96 and we're just keeping up with traffic. So, when I first bought the car, I replaced the tire pressure monitors inside the rims, but like I said, that was like 7 years ago, and I've probably had 4 sets of tires on this car since then. So this is the type of car you want to be in if you know, you want to take a road trip. Plenty of space for your luggage. It's big, it's safe. If anything were to happen, this thing's got all kinds of safety shit. This guy's hustling, man. See, we in the triple D's just keeping up with traffic. Damn, she's drinking some fuel. Yeah, I don't think she's running right. She's probably not burning the gas right, you know? Even though it is supercharged. That's probably why it needs 2 spark plugs per cylinder. It's gonna turn into a fast lane up here in a minute. Now this car is fun. I can downshift right here with the shifter, or I got little, I guess it's the precursor to paddle shifters. I got buttons on my steering wheel, and we're in 4th. We put it in 3rd. Man, that's a ripper at this speed, but 4th gear, if you want to pass someone, it feels like you're in a time warp, because it just goes a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, and then next thing you know, you're doing 120, 130, and it just keeps pulling. I mean, there's no end to it, it seems like. She just wants to go. We're gonna run out of fuel here in a minute. So this thing really, like, it's funny, it's got power and it goes. But once you hit those triple D's, man, this car opens up and it just starts pulling harder and harder, and it's just like, holy crap, man. For someone like me that, you know, I don't smoke or drink or, you know, do drugs, so for me, de-stressing is just getting in this car and driving to nowhere, man. It always changes my mood and puts a smile on my face. You know, when you're driving a car like this, you really do get a sense that everybody's just in your way, you know? And it should come with some emergency flashing lights to get everybody to move over. Even with it in drive, at this RPM, I think the supercharger's engaged, and it's just got gobs of torque. It wants to move. You know, you could just feel it, like she's telling you, hey, push on that pedal a little bit harder. This is like 9:30 at night. Normally I don't come out on the highway until after 10, 11 o'clock when there's way less traffic. You know, if you're going to be a spirited driver, make sure you have a vehicle that's capable of handling being spirited. Not just, I mean, anybody can put their foot down and go, but you got to be able to stop, handle. This car with the ABC, which is active body control, and I have a button here. I hit that button, you see it says ABC, sport mode. The suspension's jacked up right now, but it's supposed to stiffen the suspension up. So if I were to have to maneuver fast, even when that's not on, like the only time you can really tell that the ABC is working is when you're in the triple D's being aggressive, right? Other than that, just a car at its normal setting, it won't let the car roll around, you know? So when you gotta change lanes or dip off or whatever you need to do, avoid something, it just keeps the car planted and you don't feel any body roll whatsoever. And it really does, it just makes this big giant boat seem a lot more nimble than just a big four-door sedan, because it's not rolling all over the place like a boat, you know? So we're gonna ride down here for a little bit. I got a friend I'm gonna visit down south, and then we'll come back up. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not getting any issues with that rubber hose that I replaced. Instead of having that crazy line that went from one side of the car back to the other, it made absolutely no sense. The hydraulic pressure is hydraulic pressure. I don't think it really matters, you know, how far the line is. You're still going to get a certain amount of PSI at the end. And being that the car already had rubber hoses, that's what was blowing, I don't think it's a big deal that I replaced it with a rubber hose. Would I have liked to replace it with the original stuff? Yeah, but I did not see any way that was going to be anywhere remotely easy. We don't want to be stuck in that fast lane, just in case something happens and we need to pull over, or we're running out of gas already. Man, I'll tell you what, bro. You want to see people begging for money? Roll up to a gas station at nighttime in a Benz, and there's gonna come out the woodwork. So this dude over here begging this guy rolled up to me and was like, "Oh man, listen, I ain't begging for money. I need a ride." I'm like, "Yo, bro, what's this look like? Uber?" He goes, "Man, I got an abscessed tooth and I can't walk. I'm trying to get down the road." He goes, "I'll pay you $2. Man, what the? So let's see if my oh yeah, push button starts working. I changed the battery. We don't have to have the key. It did say check battery. So we might have a contact issue with the thing that holds the battery. But so far, man, the car has been driving flawlessly, other than a slight vibration under light. It's weird, it's under light throttle. All right, we're on our way back now, and car's running great, man. Really miss driving this thing. It is an absolute pleasure to drive this thing. Like I said, every time I get in this thing, it puts a smile on my face, and you know, just cruising along. even, you know, you really got to pay attention to the instrument cluster, because you really don't know how fast you're going in this car, because it's just so smooth. This thing just absolutely eats up the highway, and it's just amazing that, you know, a 20-year-old car still feels as solid as this. And let's see, we got a nice little open road here. Let's get in the fast lane in Mexico. Now, I haven't given this thing full throttle yet, but here we go. Absolute animal. Holy smoke. I could set cruise control up in these digits and it just feels like nothing. And it was just pulling and pulling and pulling. And for a stock vehicle, man, that really is pretty incredible. Now, you're gonna pay for all that incredibleness, you know, out the gate to buy a car like this. But used, you know, I got this thing for 10 grand. I'm sure they're a lot cheaper now. 20-year-old car. These things are a legitimate sleeper, bro. People are shocked when they, you know, they try to do a little pull on me or something, and then I'm just smoking them. And it just sounds like, you probably can't hear what I'm hearing. It's just got a nice throaty rumble to it when you get on that throttle a little bit. You know, at these speeds, and it's just, I'm just tickling the throttle, and it just pulls, man. There's like, effortlessly, it wants to go. With the 20-year-old shocks, I know it's just a matter of time before those shocks need to be replaced. They say AMG right on them, so I'm pretty sure they're all original. And the last thing I want to do is blow a hydraulic shock, you know, out of town, out of the state. That could just be very, very costly. It's something I don't want to get into. I want to replace, I think there's 3 more hoses up front and like a pulsation dampener. I'd like to change all that stuff out. And the shocks are not cheap. You're talking about, I think I got a quote from Mercedes at one point, and man, I want to say they were either $2,000 or $3,000 a piece. Which, I mean, you can almost buy this car for that nowadays. And really, like, if you're gonna have a 20-year-old Mercedes, you gotta know how to work on cars, man. Because you do not want to take this thing to the dealership at all. I think there's an aftermarket company called Arnott or something like that, something. They make struts. They make a replaceable strut for this, and I think they're $800 to $1,000 a piece. So you're still looking at a huge investment. But you know, if the ones on the car lasted 20 years, that's amazing. You know, so if I have to spend $4 grand to get another 20 years out of this car, and if I kept this car, it would be something that I would progressively mod. You know, I like old vehicles anyway, so we could do some cool stuff with this thing. And it's a shame they shut down the track. They shut down Moroso, and now there's nowhere for freaking kids to go and race, man. So now they're out here on the highway, you know, which, I mean, this is where I thrive. But you know, you should really, there should be a place, you know, if you're gonna make it available to have extremely high horsepower cars and have have the ability to mod any car with extremely high horsepower, you gotta give the freaking people somewhere to go. You can't just be like, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna sell 700-800 horsepower Hellcats and then not expect people to get on the highway and just shred some asphalt. Oh, we got an Audi. Peace. Oh, now we got a freaking Mustang. Man, everybody wants to party tonight. See, when this car first came out, I believe this was like the world's fastest four-door sedan at the time. Looks like we got some unwanted friends lingering somewhere close. Yeah, you gotta watch out for pork, man. That shit's all over the highway out here. You never know. Let's burn some fuel. .302 balls. Not even close. See, what's great about this car, you could play around with people like that and then just go back to leisurely driving, feeling like you're floating on a cloud, listening to some music. This thing's got a premium sound system, you know? So I've had all kinds of cars throughout my life. A Cadillac, I had a Lexus, you know, I had a Jaguar, all their flagship four-door cars. I love big four-door cars, okay? They're just huge, roomy. I feel super safe in them. The Jaguar I had was nice, man. I mean, that thing was, it could do the speed, you know what I'm saying? It'd get up there and, oh, we're burning fuel riding in fourth gear. You know, it would get up there, you know, and the Lexus and the Mercedes, or the Lexus I had, the Jaguar I had, and the Cadillac all had 300 horse, you know, which is pretty respectable. And they were very comfortable cars. Don't get me wrong, I loved each one of them. But I always tried to, when I got rid of those cars, most of them I wound up just giving away. Matter of fact, all three of them I wound up giving away. I always tried to upgrade to like a more luxurious, better car, better handling. And originally when I was looking for a Mercedes, you know, I owned the Jag. I'm not a BMW fan, so I never really wanted to own a BMW. But when I owned the Lexus and the Jag and the Cadillac, I always wanted, I'm like, one day I'm gonna have a Mercedes, and I wanted an S500. Now, I actually liked the body style before this. I forget, it's not the, I forget what designation it has. But like, they were the mob car, you know, the big black S-Class, the S500s. And I actually was looking for an S600 as well, the V12 version. But they're hard to come by, and I would only get a V12 version if it was the S65, not the 600. Because the S65 is like this car, where AMG took it. You know, AMG took the S500 and dropped the supercharger, a sportier transmission setup, bigger wheels in the back. And there is a big difference between an AMG package and an AMG car. Like there's a forum or a website or something. Like you can get on there, but you have to have you got to put your VIN number in. So it's only for like AMG people, you know. Which is kind of snobby. But hey, you know, that's Mercedes, man. That's the type of people that drive these cars. I don't know why the hell I'm driving a car like this, but it is absolutely a pleasure. And I'll tell you what, definitely, if you ever get the chance, drive a real AMG car, man. There is just something. Why does it seem like I got no headlights? There's just something about these cars, just the raw power, the luxury, you know. And the newer ones are just off the wall with the luxury, and we kind of blew by our exit, so we got to kind of backtrack. That's what happens. I get coaxed into a highway party. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? And before there was even transformers or LEDs, I really didn't get the light fixtures. I made all my money on the light and maintenance aspect, where the customer would go out and change bulb and ballast, and they'd bring the ballast back to their shop. I'd have my 55-gallon drums there. They would fill them up. I'd come by anywhere from once a month to once every other month, depending on you know, if it were in rainy season or whatnot, and I'd pick up just transformers, strictly transformers, man. If I could go back to just that, I wouldn't even care about the wire strippers and all that, because stripping wire doesn't make money like copper transformers makes money.